And welcome to another episode of DIOTALk. I'm Dio. Let's talk. Today I have a very talented guest. He's here to promote his new album 3. Give a warm welcome to Johnny Silvestry. Welcome to the show, bro. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you.
Before we started, we were talking about a couple of songs you sent me, which is number 3, which is the track 16 is my favorite.
Oh, nice. Wow.
That's my favorite one. But we'll get into that. So
Okay.
this is your third album out, or
This is my third studio album. I released a project called Silvestry and the Housemen in 2017, but it wasn't my album per se. They gave me the liberty to write and sing, however. But it was like a joint collab.
Yes.
Where I was, writing not too much based on what I was going through, just to try and put songs out there.
Got it. And this one, because I was reading, you were able to send me the back cover. You're more involved. You've been from engineering to writing to producing, which is it's awesome because it shows you're very talented in what you do and very passionate.
Thank you. Yeah.
How was, like, before we get into the album, I want to know, like, what was how did you become this juggernaut of musician? Like, what first inspired you?
So when the pandemic started in 2020 and everything was shut down, in 2020, I actually went through a really bad breakup, and I knew that I wanted to get back into the studio and just write.
It always starts with a heartbreak.
Yeah. And I knew that there was just stuff that I wanted to let out and write and let go of and, put together an album. And then in March was when everything shut down, and it was just like, you can't go out, you can't do anything. You're stuck at home. Everything's, shut down. And over the pandemic, I wound up moving to the Poconos, which is where I live now, recording to you live from home.
Is it that New York?
No, the Poconos is in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when I moved out here, I was like, damn, like, if everything's shut down now, I don't have any connections out here in Pennsylvania. It was like, how am I really gonna record an album? And so I went online and I bought a microphone, headphones, an iPad, and I wound up doing everything myself. I taught myself how to produce music, something that I've always paid, talented producers to do. I was struggling to do myself.
Wow, that's very incredible, because the at least the songs I've heard so far, it sounds like studio recording.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Very,
yes.
Yeah, when I worked with Brooklyn, they were good at what they did. I previously worked with an amazing engineer, Mark Newton, and it's one of my songs, Do I Tell Him? And so I listened to these projects and like the quality and the sound and the professionalism, and I was just like, if I'm gonna do this myself, like, it has to sound as good as the stuff that I've recorded before, and as good as the stuff that's out there. Because, not to say that I'm in competition with other artists, but you want your stuff to sound as good. You don't want to downgrade your sound. I didn't want this album to sound like a demo. And so when I started, I released the first few singles that are on the album were Wondering If, Soulmate, and Malas Intenciones.
Which is a dope song.
Thank you. The version that you heard I had to redo everything, because I listened to the singles that I released and I was just like, I can't believe I thought that sounded good. It sounds like shit.
Well, the one that's is out now, it sounds incredible.
Thank you.
What fascinates me, what I love about it, is that you're very versatile. Like, you sound good in English, but you also sound good in Spanish. And that's something that a lot of artists that try to do that, like, it doesn't go well for them. But for you, it's like, I'm not sure if you're very fluent in English and Spanish. It sounds like it's some like on some Rick and Martin shit, right? Like Rick and Martin, he's good in Spanish, but he's
Yeah,
very good in English, surprisingly good in English. So like
yeah.
that's when I first heard it, that's like the because that's my early memories of actually hearing an artist in between Spanish and English. So kudos to you. You did an amazing job.
Thank you. Thank you. English is actually my first language, and I learned Spanish in school. I took classes from sixth grade throughout college.
Wow.
But it also helped that, I went to a Spanish speaking church growing up, and I was influenced by like a lot of Spanish gospel recording artists. So I was like constantly listening to Spanish music growing up. So that helped,
Were
develop a
you
lot of where that comes from.
were you also like in the choir in church?
I I didn't lead worship often, but when I did, I really enjoyed it. Sometimes I was asked, to bring people into that atmosphere. It was nice.
That's good. That's nice. So like
Yeah.
what's your regarding this album, what's like what inspired you? What was your writing process? Like
Oh.
a bunch of stuff I can imagine.
Oh man. I recently took to social media that I've had to dig deeper on this album and this project than I ever have in any other song that I've ever put out. I go the title three, which is the theme song for the album. That actually in the chorus of the song, as you heard, it says, "Been crying since the age of 3. Is anybody listening?"
Mm,
I had to dig
yes.
as deep, and as far as kid when I was 3 years old, and my stepdad, my mom, the abuse in the church, the abuse at school. Like there was
Wow.
just so many, so many things that affected my life emotionally, and I wanted, so many things were going wrong in my relationships and jobs, and I was like, this has to be stemming, from something way back that goes deep down. And I just started to write, and I wasn't the initial title for that song was actually "Trying Not to Cry,"
Wow.
and I just felt like three was such a statement, and it was just so different. I didn't want to title it, something where people are gonna see the title track "Trying Not to Cry" and they're like, "Oh, he's so dramatic." I
Yeah.
wanted I wanted people to be like, "Three, like what's this song about?" And then in the end leave them with a positive message that the things that you go through in your past, in your childhood, in your life, those things don't determine who you are. They don't determine who you're going to be. They don't define you. So the power is up to us. We have the strength and the power to pick up our shit and keep on moving forward. And I wanted a song that was going to tell people exactly that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's well, it definitely does. It's so this album was very like therapeutic for you. You got to
Oh
you
man.
got to first you got to deal with these emotions that sometimes have people we hold,
Yeah.
scars that are not healed. So you were able to find that and try to heal it for yourself.
Yeah.
So I can imagine, plus we're in a pandemic at that point in your time. So you really had to like, you had to, I don't know how people say, come to a Jesus moment and really look
Yeah.
at yourself in the mirror to able to create such art.
Absolutely.
What was
Yeah.
the so three? Was it difficult writing it? Did you get a lot of emotion a lot of times?
I'd written that song, excuse me, um, when I was like 16 years old. I started writing
Wow.
it. And I remember when I was 18 and in college, I was in Spanish class, and the teacher asked everyone to give a presentation on something that helps you confront your anxiety or like, you know, difficult moments. And so everybody had like a presentation. And when it came to me, I brought my guitar into school that day. And I asked, I was like, can I please give my presentation in Spanish? I mean, in English, because we were supposed to do it in Spanish. And she like gave me this look like, sure. And so I closed my eyes and I just started to play the guitar and I sang the song 3. And by the time I finished that, I looked around the whole classroom, literally every single person was just sobbing, like crying. And at the end of the class, she asked me if there was anything that she could help me with, like what was I going through. She was like, you need somebody, just know that I'll be here. And she was like, I thank you so much, you know, for your bravery to share a song like that, because so many people go through so many things that nobody knows anything about. And we go about our days, and the fact that you share that song, like, people relate to that. And so I'd always taken that with me. And I released that song on my first album. It was called Trying Not to Cry. But when I released it, it was more about, it was a Christian album. And so I was at the end, like, it's talking about how Jesus saved me and yada, yada, but I was still battling so many demons at the time. And so when I was re-recording it and composing it myself during the pandemic, I was like, I want to like dig deeper. And I just started to change lyrics around. And then I added the spoken word. And it just became like so intense. And like you said, the album was very, very, very therapeutic for me. Not only with that song, I have another song called Closure, which is about my relationship with my mom. And then other songs about like breakups and, you know, just life experiences. The whole album, like, I just feel like my sister worded it best. She was like, this isn't the album that you're going to put on if you want to go party or like clubbing. She's like, this is the album that you put on if you want to just have a glass of wine and sit down and reflect and relax and just take everything in and let everything go. And I was like, you're absolutely right. You know, this album for me, I would say is like Adele's 19, I think was the name of the album. That her first like very big album, where she was just taking in, you know, all of those emotions, those vulnerable, you know, experiences, and just writing them out. And I just felt like I did the same with this album. I can't wait for it to be out. I really can't.
Wow, that's you. So you really gone through a journey in this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that song it's not something that it's you wrote it. It's something that's been evolving with you.
Yeah.
Throughout the
absolutely.
years. And as you grew older, you were able to identify the right words to express where you're trying to get out. In which I the first time I heard it, I had it loud on my phone, but I had to really put it in my headphones to grasp, because it's a very powerful song, especially your message at the end. It's very inspiring. I definitely agree with your sister. It's something, it is creating consciousness, you know, something that we all need right now in this world. We need to face our demons, face our emotions, face every adversity, obstacle, whatever you want to call it. This album, it's the key for that.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed just listening to a couple of songs you send me, which is very impactful. If nobody ever told you this, I'm going to say, I'm sorry for the things you had to go through growing up. I know being growing up in a church, it can be difficult. God sometimes, religion is sometimes not the answer to heal those wounds. You have to go through shit in life. You have to take accountability, face you.
Yeah.
And I think with this project you were able to do that. You know, you let it all out, be versatile, yeah, and put yourself out there. I remember this gentleman is called Elman Woodson. He said, in order for you to be successful or overcome anything in life, you first have to be vulnerable. You have to put
Yeah.
yourself out there without fear, so that you're able to learn what's out there and people know who you are for who you are, rather than know you for this image that everybody tried to portray.
Yeah.
So, you know, very proud of you. Very proud of you.
Thank you. I
Um,
appreciate that. Thank you.
yes, yes. How long did it take you to develop this album? Which is something that you 2, 3 years, or when you just had the spirit, you just completed it.
I started writing um that song three, like I said, was how many years in the making.
Yeah.
I started at 16, but like the album took about 14 months to put together.
Wow.
Yeah, 14 long months. And before we cut off, I was saying that I was releasing singles, putting a song out here, putting a song out there, because I was just tampering with the music software and teaching myself, how to
Yes.
produce and how to compose. And then as I continued to work on, newer songs, I was realizing the quality in the older songs sucked.
Yes.
So I was having to recompose and reproduce everything from scratch, re-record and whatnot.
So you even did the beats, the melody, everything.
The the songwriting, the instruments. The only thing that was added as far as instruments were the guitars, and I play the guitar. I don't know why I wound up buying guitar loops online, because they were just, I don't know how I came across them online, but I was like listening to them. They were like sponsored ads, and I was like, damn, this would sound really good in a song of mine. And so maybe like 5 of the 16 songs have guitar tracks from other producers. But everything you hear there, the melodies with um, some of the pianos, some of the drumming, some of the violins are my thing. I was like, if I could throw a violin on every song, like I'm gonna smack it right on there. So yeah, everything you hear it's all me, all of it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What was one of the things that you were able to learn about yourself through this whole process of doing it yourself?
Oh man, that when you really want something and you really, really, really want something, there's nothing that's going to get in the way of, me having it. And I've always been like that, like with relationships, with just anything. Like I'm a go-getter from the depths of my soul. I'm a go-getter. And it's like, I know that music is my calling. It's my gift. And I'm somebody great one day. And when the world went into shutdown, it's just like, how the hell was I going to record music? And I didn't think that I was going to become a music producer. Like, it was just the furthest thought from my head. But I knew that I wanted to work on songs, and I could have put probably, an acoustic album out, maybe like 4 or 5 songs. But all of my friends can tell you I'm fucking extra. And so I was just going after the whole shebang. And
Yeah, it's like,
it's taught me that
if you're
if I
gonna
want
do it, you're
something,
gonna
I'm
do
going
it
to make it
right.
happen.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that
Yeah.
energy. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
When you like before you put the album together, did you speak to anybody? Anybody give you any feedback?
My friend Daniel Ortiz,
Ortiz?
who's
I love that
he's
guy.
an
Shout out to
author.
Daniel.
He actually did background vocals for my very first album.
Yeah.
When I had to be like 18 years old. and he was in one of my first music videos. He's been a friend of mine since we were like 16 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, he's my
He's super
longest
talented.
friend.
He's super
Oh,
talented.
an incredible author. And not only is he a great author, he has such a good ear for music and what sounds good. So every time I was like composing a song, I would send him like the instrumentals, I'd send him the tracks, I'd send him the lyrics, and I'd be like, what do you think about this? How does this sound? And he's like, you need to raise the background vocals there. You know, need to lower that instrument. You need to bring up the, this certain track, and like just helping me like compose everything, you know, through WhatsApp, because I'd send him the songs through WhatsApp and he'd just be like, this is what needs fixing. And then his ear definitely helped me so much, so much with this project. I probably could have put together this album without him, but I don't think it would sound as good as it does. Like the professional quality that you hear in this, was a mixture of his ear and my ear together. And I think that we created something amazing.
So it's like your album is just distributed by yourself, independent.
Yeah.
That gives a lot to say, because it does sound like a professional album. It sounds
thank you
way better than a lot of people's shit out there. And I'm not trying to criticize anybody, but if you, like you said, if you want something, right, there you go.
Absolutely.
There you go. Wow. So now that you've done all this, like, have you thought of like producing other people, starting your own label? Like, everything you needed to know, like, you really don't need nobody else but a good lawyer, file good paperwork.
A good lawyer. I have those connections too.
There you go. All you need is two.
I've had 2 or 3 people ask me to compose music for them. And I feel like, a shit friend or a shit artist, because I told them too, like, right now is not a good time. I'm so focused on putting this album together.
Yes.
And my deadline, they asked me, late last year, late 2021. And I knew that I wanted this album out like on my birthday. Something in my gut was just telling me, you need to release this on your 33rd birthday. Like, this is it. And so, I was not pushing their projects aside. Like, I started composing for one of the 2 people or 3.
No, you got to put yourself first.
But I mean, yeah.
As not being selfish, before you can help anybody, you have to help yourself.
Yeah. And at the same time, it's like I've learned so much, producing my own record, that when it's time for me to start producing for other people, like, I already know what to do. I already know what's going to sound good, for them and their ear and what they like. So I feel like I did the right thing by having them wait. And it was selfish, but like you said, if you don't put you have to put yourself first, because nobody is going to put you first. What I'd really like to do, though, what I would like to do is I want to create a compilation album. I know a lot of up and coming, singers and songwriters, and I would love to compose a track for each person and put a full length album together of, everybody singing their own songs with the music that I made, and then like having multiple people record their versions of the song.
Yeah.
And then like mix match the voices. So we're like creating duets with 2 people who don't know each other, different harmonies and whatnot. That's something that I'm like really trying to lean into.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Who do you listen to for source of inspiration? Like, what genre of music drives you?
Don't judge me. Because I'm a songwriter, I really, really, really love Taylor Swift.
I love Taylor Swift.
I feel like
I love Taylor Swift.
Even people who don't like her, I feel like if you go to one of her shows, you will see how fucking hard this woman works to put together a whole album, a whole performance production. Like, I never thought I was like a big Taylor Swift fan, and then I went to her. She did when she released the Reputation album, and she did that stadium tour. I went to go see her live, and I was just like in a euphoria for 2 months straight. Like, I couldn't believe I saw Taylor Swift, and the songs that she was singing, she made you feel like you were the only person in the audience and she was singing directly to you.
And that's a great performance, then. That's a great performance.
And that's the type of artist that I, aspire to be. I want, because people are spending how much money on tickets, and then I went to a show with an artist whose name I'm not going to say. And she wore a wig that covered her eyes. And she was like, I love all of my fans. I see all of you. But meanwhile, her background dancers are like guiding her across the stage. I'm like, bitch, you don't see me. You about to fall.
Boom.
Yeah. I respect who make you feel, at the end of the day, we support their music and they want us to continue to support their music.
Yeah,
so in order for that to
continue
happen, you got to humble
consume
yourself.
it. Yes, 100%.
And I feel like she's somebody that does that. JoJo is somebody that does that. Adele, I would have to say, is somebody that does that. And I feel like those are the artists that I
love Adele.
Find myself listening to.
I need some Adele right now. I need some Adele right now. I've been going through it.
As far as like picking up inspiration goes, I would say that those are like my go-to girls: Adele, JoJo, and Taylor.
Yeah, I think Taylor's a wonderful. I think she had the album Red that I definitely enjoyed. I think she came out with the album 1990 something.
1989, which is the year we were born. Don't you forget it.
Yes. Which I enjoyed. She has a ton of songs that is one of my guilty pleasure. I like listening to her and Miley Cyrus. Yeah, guilty pleasures.
I like Justin Bieber too. Like listening to, because he works with amazing producers too.
I like the producers. I don't really like him. I think he's how do I put it without being mean towards him, right? I'm sure he's a great person, but I like the work atmosphere he works with, because they know how to put out right content, right? Maybe because I don't know him, but I think he's still missing the connection between the person and the music. I think if I give you a song, I think you can sing it. That's okay. But if that connection of feeling the words, like you and track 16 and 3, you felt that. Yeah. That when you listen to when you listen to Adele, you get those goosebumps.
Yeah.
I think because he started when he was very young, child, right? Here, just do this, and he does it like dancing. He's a dancer, but yet he's not dancing out of passion. He's dancing out of, you need to learn how to dance because that's part of your entertainment. So when you go, like you described Taylor Swift, when she's out there, she makes you feel like that. He's missing that I don't know that for me, I want to say connection. I could be wrong, but it doesn't give me goosebumps.
I don't know him, so I can't say.
But he does have good music. He does have.
I love his music. I do, and I feel like him, along with a lot of other people, we're just still trying to find our way in this world. And I feel like he's come a long way compared to who he was as a teen.
Yeah.
But when I referred to, as far as listening to him and trying to grab or gravitate, towards some sort of inspiration for this album, the quality and like the crisp sound that you'd hear in his vocals and the instruments, like he puts out amazing music.
Yes. Now let me ask you a question. How many times did you listen to Yummy?
To who? Yummy.
Yummy.
Oh,
Because if you're
when it was on, yeah, that's not my favorite song.
oh
Just
man.
like the song, but I don't love it. My favorite song of his, I would have to say, I loved his first album, like when he first came out and he had
Yes.
Baby and like all those little cute
Yes,
poppy
yes.
songs. But his last album is actually really, really good.
Is it
I know
Purpose, if I'm not mistaken?
no, he released, I'll tell you right now, Justin Bieber. It's the one that has Ghost.
Ah, I love that song.
Yeah,
I know
that
what
is
you're
like,
talking about. Yeah.
yeah,
I like the
Justice. That's his new album.
I like the video quality. Like this,
Yeah,
I definitely enjoy that. Good. He has good people behind him.
you have to
I'm
have
not
a
gonna
good
complain.
team. Yeah, I
Yes,
know.
that's all you need. People that know their job.
That's not all you need, and I learned that throughout this pandemic.
Please explain. Teach me.
For instance, me putting together this whole thing by myself, and then my music videos. I actually work with a video production company
Mm.
where, excuse me, if you hear me coughing, I was actually filming a music video out in the snow a few days ago.
Hey.
And I feel like I'm dying. I've been coughing nonstop. But so I'm a part of this company that has video footage of literally anything you could think of: weddings, funerals, cancer patients, schools, relationships, breakups, anything. And so I just feel like if you have a good eye for what looks good, you can, well, I guess you could say, it does require a team, but it doesn't have to be as many people as these artists make it seem like.
Yeah, but mostly these artists is entourage. That's
Yeah,
they pay for people to hype them up. That's all.
yeah,
That's all it is. But you definitely need a team. We have useful people that are dedicated to getting you to the next level, because
yeah,
you can't do it all. You can't do it all. It's physically impossible. Example with the podcast is going to come a certain time that I'm going to need assistant, from scheduling to reaching out to people to talking to editing. Like, I am one man behind all
yeah,
this, right? So as it progresses, I progress, like you progress, you're gonna need good quality people to invest in
yeah,
people, and that will solidify your surroundings. You want to invest in people that are good people. They're always going to want more and
yeah,
better.
yeah,
So I mean, everything's a work in progress.
yeah.
Don't rush anything. Just enjoy the progress. I tell people all the time that it's going to come to a point that the only thing you're going to be stressing about is having too much money.
I can't wait.
The more money, more problems.
Boy. But you know what's crazy? I used to spend my first album, I spent a few thousand on. And then
Mm,
my second album, I spent quite a few thousand on.
mm.
And then with this album, all I had to do was pay for my iPad, my microphone, my headphones, and teach myself how to do the damn thing.
If you spend
It's an
anything, you
investment.
invest in yourself.
Yeah, yep.
So
It's such a
that's money worth spending.
yeah,
Is worth spending than you're spending on an album you're not doing anything. So it's good investment. I mean, but you live and you learn.
yeah,
Live and
absolutely.
you learn. Are you signed to any label, or you're strictly independent?
No, strictly independent. When I was 18, how old was I when I released that first album? I think I was 21 when I released my first Christian Spanish album. And I had a guy contact me who wanted to, and he was legit. He had all the contacts and all the glitz and glam. And remember earlier when I said I had all those
Mm-hmm.
lawyer connections?
Mm-hmm.
He thought he was going to dick me over. And I actually had somebody look at the contract, and this motherfucker would have owned me until the day that I died.
Making no
Yeah.
money.
So, yeah. Even after he finished managing me, like everything would strictly go to him for putting me on, per se. So I've had people reach out to me, with interest, but the contracts never look right, and I
Smart
would
man.
prefer, yeah, I'm. God is going to open the door. I know that, and when the
Mhm.
time comes, I will know when it's time.
Yeah, I mean, even when I reach out, because I have my own clothing apparel, Dream Inspire Obtain. Go check it out right now. I reach out to, let's say, example, like I don't want to say influencer, but somebody's upcoming that just they're doing so many stuff, but they're not the right direction, right? They
Yeah,
just need something, to a little spark to inspire them to do something, right? And I offer a sponsorship, and my sponsorship is full. It has a full of shit, right? Like my brand, you can't be affiliated. So like, you can let's example, you can't go and post a picture on Instagram where you smoking weed. It's prohibited. That's not what the brand represents, right? But
yeah,
as a person behind, you're always gonna put what's best for you, not best for the client,
yeah,
right? Because it's yours initially. Uh, when it's somebody, I guess, more famous, the contract different is different. You get what I'm saying? Um,
yeah,
but in this 2022, like, go out, go get a loan from a bank, you know, spend 15,000, depending on the amount of loan you got. Spend that shit on advertisement, put your shit out there.
yeah,
Um, spend the other money on tweaks, whatever you need to do, and boom, you got a number one record. That's what Chance did, right? Chance the Rapper, rather than
yeah.
sign these lengthy, long ass, unworthy contracts.
And that's exactly what a lot of them are, just lengthy and worthy.
Yeah, I mean, the
It's
time
a
has
shame.
changed. It's where the technologies. It's we have more technology. The information is out there. So, like, somebody trying to. I learned this from, I don't know, Jared Leto,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
actor. He has a
yeah,
band, 30 Seconds to Mars, right? So he had
yeah,
a documentary on Netflix not too long ago, and that's what I learned. Like, these contracts are basically loans. They're giving you a
yeah,
certain amount of money so that you can go and basically, here's a push so you can get yourself out there, and
yeah,
they expect a return.
yeah,
If I got good credit, shit, I'll do that shit for myself.
yeah. It's true.
But back to this album, which is dope. Besides track 16, number 3, what's your favorite other song?
Resuscitate me, hands down. Resuscitate me. I feel like
Why?
when anybody asks, and I've had a lot of people have heard the album because it's not out yet, but maybe about one, two, three, four, like 5 people total have listened to the album, and they always ask, "What's your favorite song?" And they tell me theirs, and right off the back, I say "Resuscitate Me." Um, this song is it's like a dark rock, like a pop rock.
Mm,
Um, Lyrically, I love the lyrics. I actually wrote them when I was going through a really, really, really bad depression.
mm,
I went through my breakup. I moved. I had like just thoughts of suicide, and I was going through a really hard, rough, dark path. And I remember one day I just started to write. I was in the car, and the first thing I wrote was, who is going to come down and resuscitate me? Who's going to be the only air that I breathe? Who's going to reach out from heaven, come and save me?
That's some deep
And when
ass
I
shit,
looked at it, I
man.
was like, oh my God, this looks like a fucking suicide letter. But I just started to write and write and write. And once I finished, I started producing the music for it. And when I finally finished like recording it, after a few weeks, I feel like this song took me out of that depression that I was going through. And it really took me out of a very dark, point in my life. And I've had a couple of them, but I feel like as the older we get, the more harder it is to face, certain circumstances and situations, because we feel, as adults, that we're in charge of all the choices, that we make and the things that go around in our lives. And we're so sure of the things that we want. And so when life throws you a curveball or, swings an uppercut on you, we don't know how to take it, because we're these adults now who are in charge of our lives. And, me not knowing, I was previously engaged, set to be married.
Mm.
And when that whole fiasco went, into shambles, it really took a toll, on my life, my heart, my mentality. Physically, I freaking went from like 220 pounds to like 172. And it was just like such a battle and such a struggle. So this song, I have to say, definitely like just grabs me out from that dark turning point in my life. And I hope that when people hear this song, anyone who's ever struggled, with mental illness, with suicide, with just anything that is dark, that when they listen to this, they'll realize, yo, like my life is worth living.
Yes, yes, yes. Shit. That's some deep shit right there, man.
I can't wait. I think I tried to send you that song. That was I tried to send you 5 songs, and I think 3 only went through to you,
Yes,
having an
yes.
issue that night. But that was one of them. It's a freaking amazing song. Amazing. The music, the melody, the lyrics, like just everything all together is.
No, I can imagine how I can imagine when the album drops, that song, like many others, are gonna help so many people. I think when we suffer depression and excuse me, we go through all those dark emotions. I think it's finding the correct words to express ourselves,
Yeah.
right? And because we don't know what words to use, right? How can we explain so you can understand?
Yeah.
Right? Like I being a man for me, right? Usually it's cutting wood, eating meat, lifting shit, putting down, right? But that's what the society thinks, right? That's 1950s, 67. That's what and it's not really like that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially I have a son. It's they teach us to bottle our emotions down, swallow that shit, right?
Yeah.
That's why sometimes women are advanced mentally more than a man, because since they become women, they're dealing with all these emotions and thoughts, rather than the man. We don't have that. So
Yeah.
things start catching up to us, like me. I'm a perfect example, me. And I don't know how to deal with it in the past, right? So in order to do that, I have to now become accountable. I have to face me as a person. And sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. But that first accountability and continue to be accountable creates now consistency.
Yeah.
And now find the proper words to explain what I'm feeling, because out of anger there's no communication. There's only pain, hurt, resentment. So
Yeah.
now we have to understand that point of view. So be able to, I'm able to express you what I'm feeling. And a lot of us still have not been able to do that. And I think with this song, you're able to help a lot of people.
Yeah. I
And-
could see, listening to what you just said, I can see like why you said, of the three songs that you heard, that three, the title track of the album, was the one that resonated with you
yes.
the most, because as children, we're taught, young boys especially, should I say, that we have to be being macho, that
Mm-hmm.
we shouldn't cry, we shouldn't show, too much
Yeah,
emotion.
yes, yes.
And so we grow up with that, in our hearts and in our minds. And it's like we hide so much of the things that we go through. And, in the song, it says you can walk into any venue, into a train station, into a stadium, a church, a school, a workplace. It's like you don't know what the person next to you is going through. And that stems from how we're brought up as children.
Mm-hmm.
What happens at home stays at home,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to hide all of these feelings and all of these emotions. But it's just like, us men and just people in general, you have to know that it's okay to cry, it's okay to
Mm-hmm.
show emotion, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to hurt. We have to, that's why God gave us the beauty of this earth, to take in everything. When we die, who knows what the hell is going to happen, what the future holds, past life and the air that we breathe. We have to take in and absorb every emotion. It's a gift.
Yes. It's it's once again being vulnerable, putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Everything is trials and errors.
Yeah.
You'll cry until one day you've grown enough and you realize not everybody's meant to see your tears. That is better,
Yeah.
when you're having a hard day, go to the bathroom, I don't know, go lay down, cry it out. After you cry it out, you feel much better. But not everybody's meant to see your tears. Not everybody's meant to see your struggles. But yet that, you have to go through things in life. Sometimes parents shelter their kids too much. Sometimes parents fucking uh are so stressed the fuck out, they just don't know how to deal with their kids. And they
Yeah.
forgot why they brought them here. They forgot, I look at my son and he teaches me more than I teach him. I sit
Yeah.
back and I get to admire him, and as kids we were stuck with, we unfortunately we get stuck with the shitty end of the stick, and now all we want to do is grow up. And growing up is the biggest lie, because you fucking grow up, you go out into the real world, bunch of savages. A civilized person it's more savage than an actual savage. At least a savage, they know they're savage because they have to survive, they have to hunt, they have to do all this shit. But a civilized person, you would never know their true intentions.
Yeah, it's true. It's sad, but true.
And
And I feel like, as children, I had a very, very, very difficult childhood, growing up in church, and, the different types of abuses that I had to endure.
mhm,
And, I was dying to grow up. I wanted to be an adult. So I was in control, with where I spent my time, with who was involved in my
mhm,
life. And then, we were kids and we're dying to grow up so that we can be in control of our lives. But it's like you said, we
mhm,
grow up, and some of the savages, that we
mhm.
encounter as adults are 10 times worse.
Yes,
It's
yes. No, you're very much like me in the sense that you think the dream won't end. This
Yeah.
nightmare won't end, and me as a child, that was fucking every day for me at certain points in my life. You think it would never
Yeah.
end. And then unfortunately, I'm grateful that I was able to realize it just in time, because sometimes people don't realize that the nightmare did end, and now you have an opportunity to, fucking get your shit together, become somebody, or live a good life. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to
Yeah.
make money. Just live a good life, and where you can be happy and enjoy the moments.
Yeah. And
Because yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like
continue.
in order to live a truly happy life, like we have to accept all of that hurt and all of those painful experiences. Because if you just try, and I did this for so many years, I was just sweeping it under the rug and just not shining light on,
Hmm.
those things that happened. But it's like you have to acknowledge that those things fucking happened to you, and then you
Yes,
have to let it go.
yes,
Because if
yes,
you don't let that go and you just brush it under the rug, you're going to fuck up every relationship that you ever go into.
yes,
It affects your relationship, your studies, your workspace. It affects who you are as a person if you don't let that go. A
yes,
lot of people, they feel like, they have to act as if it didn't happen, but you have to accept the fact that these things happened. And then once you do, it's okay to cry, it's okay to let it out, but you need to get your shit together too, and don't let those experiences take hold of your life. You are in
yes,
control now.
yes, yes. I was very, I've always stuck to, keep my head low and just keep it moving, keep it moving. But you can only keep it moving for so long.
Yeah.
It starts to come at some point, starts just to come out of your pores.
Hmm.
Especially now that I have a son, more than ever. So I
Yeah,
in order, because you got to break the cycle. If
absolutely.
you're not willing to break it, then who will? And don't get me wrong, there's certain shit that we probably grow up and he'll be traumatized on how something, I handle poorly. You never know.
Yeah.
It could be, some people will be traumatized because their parents didn't want to give them cookies. As simple as that, like, believe it or
Yeah,
not. Um, but yet there's always a better way to do anything. But you have to make the
absolutely.
mistake, and as you grow as a person, you soon realize you're growing as a person because your vocabulary changes. You went from making mistakes now to learning lessons.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And once you start learning the lessons, it's simple. You're learning the lesson because you realize what it is, and you're not going to make that shit happen again.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, what was the church you would go to? Pentecostal?
Oh, I knew it.
Yes.
But to the, I'm not even going to say anything bad. But yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Pentecostal. I grew up with a lot of friends that were Pentecostal. I only know one family, which I hold dear to my heart. They were normal people,
yeah.
same people that went into the church, same people that walked out. I saw a lot of people that went to that church were just like, some people just because they're in church they think they're better than you.
Hmm.
There was a lot of that. There was a lot of
Yeah.
let's just say it was a lot of stuff.
I feel like, that I may get bashed in the future for saying this because I know that I'm going to be like super successful at some point in my life.
You will.
Um, but I feel like that, the Pentecostal church and even religion in general, um, it's like such a cult, and you go into these churches and everybody has their own cliques and their own crews, and you forget about the reason why you're walking into a place of worship. If I never stepped foot into another church again, I'd be okay. To be completely honest with you, with the shit that I've had to endure and face within the church itself as a child, I I would be 100% fine if I never had to step into another church again. And, this stems from the leaders of the church, the pastors who, you trust to live a certain lifestyle, and you don't realize the snakes that they are behind closed doors. And when, they're not holding the microphone,
Hmm.
I've seen some, and I've lived through and experienced some very deep and dark shit, going to church. And so I feel like, where I am in life right now, it's more of a relationship with God. I love him. I accept him. I believe he's real. I believe, that Christ came into this earth and this world. He died for our sins. But that's as far as I go with it. My my love and my relationship is towards him, not towards the church, not towards the religion, not, I respect the saints and whatnot, but it's like a very not touchy feely subject for me,
Hmm.
but I people are too focused on religion and not enough, when it comes to spirituality.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's people. Sometimes people don't know how to get their shit together. Sometimes it gives them structure, you know, like
Yeah.
the Wayne. I don't know if the Wayne brothers, right? The Wayne
Hmm.
brothers, their father was Testigo Jehová. Jehová. How do you say that in English?
Yeah. Jehovah's Witness.
Jehovah Witness. And they were saying they didn't celebrate Christmas, and it was simple. They were like, God forgive me if I'm botching this, but there were like 11 in total kids that were broke. Uh, that religion gives them structure. You don't have birthdays.
Hmm.
You don't have Christmas. You're not spending money on all this shit. So you're able to live cheap and justify the ends of the meat. You get what I'm saying? So it gives
Yeah.
them structure. So I'd rather say we're poor. No, we're religious, and gives an excuse on why I can't buy you sneakers, or why we can't celebrate your birthday, or why we can't celebrate Christmas. A lot of people need guidance, and what better way than, all right, let's go to church, let's become church people. But yet, unfortunately, throughout the years, it's very common. You can't ignore the fact that church leaders take advantage of women, men, children, and all these things.
Yeah.
So if you're a person that you don't, you're either a leader or a follower, or at
Yeah.
minimum, you have common sense. If you're a follower and you need somebody to lead you, you're just a sheep. You're not a
Yeah.
lion, or you know, don't have common sense. You need something that's gonna give you tracked, because you're lost.
Yeah.
And it doesn't the saying say that when you're lost, aférrate a Dios. When you're
Hmm.
feeling lonely or lost, get closer to God.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against any religion. I have my own beliefs, and I got my own bone to pick with them. But that's for another time, right? But
I my my no, not another time. Let's talk about this now. We're
let's
here.
do it. All right, shit, let's do it.
my first my very first album I released in 2010. It was a Spanish Christian album. And it was very faith-based. It had, a lot of praise, worship, Bible story songs. And when I released this album, I started to travel with it. I toured
Mhm.
Puerto Rico, Chicago, Ohio, Connecticut, Boston, Pennsylvania, all of New York.
You
It
went. So
was,
you went like on a
it
tour
was,
tour.
yeah, it was really picking up. And the very last invitation that I got was to go sing in Panama. And at that time, I was in a relationship with another man for almost 3 years. And I was, struggling with my sexuality, like trying to keep it hidden, because I knew that once those people knew that I was gay, they weren't going to have me singing on any altars. And when I finally came out, shit hit the fan, and 99% of the people who supported my ministry and, my album, my career, all started talking shit.
Forget it. You were a disgrace for them. Yeah.
Oh,
Fuck 'em.
man.
Fuck them.
And I said, it hurt. And I remember talking to a youth pastor who till today is a really good friend of mine. And he says, Silvestry, let me tell you something. He says, all of these doors, that were opened in your favor, he says, you need to live your truth. You need to be who you are, and you need not to hide from people, because at the end of the day, nobody's anybody to judge you. And he said, if you're scared and you fear that you're not going to be able to sing in church anymore, he says, do you think that the pulpit, these altars, are the biggest thing that you can sing on? He says, there's stadiums and coliseums and TV shows and doors out there that God will open for you. He says, you need to be true to who you are in your music, and you let God do the rest. And I literally took that with me and I ran with it. And I was like, excuse me, like when he told me that, I like, all of a sudden I felt okay, because singing in church was the only thing that I'd ever known, growing up. I never sang at a bar, at a restaurant, at, a theater, a carnival. And once I decided to take that time off and focus on me and new songs that I could write based on, personal and life experiences, I saw that God was able to open different doors in my favor, and, larger ones at that. There was more to life than just singing for the same 30, 40 people every day, every Sunday, every Friday night, every Wednesday night. And, I'm grateful for those experiences, but I'm also grateful that God used somebody to literally like smack me in the face, spiritually speaking, to realize that when God gives you a gift and a talent, it's because he sees, the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
And so, even now till today that I'm producing my own body of work, I can look back and think about, the past producers that I've worked with and the churches that I sang in. And like, I look at this body of work and this album, and it wasn't made for me to sing at a church. I want to sing in hospital rooms. I want to sing in stadiums and coliseums where people are hurting, but they're coming together, in one place, because I feel like music heals.
Yes.
And that's what I want this project to be for people. I want that when I'll mail you a copy, once it's out.
Yes, let me know.
One of the like main things that sticks out in the credits is that I want people to heal. I want people to listen to the words, not even the melodies or the instruments. I want that when they listen to the words, that they heal. And to me, I feel like that's what religion should be doing to people, and it doesn't. But that's what I want my music to do.
I feel that 100%. And I agree with you 100% also. Wow. It's when is it dropping? When is the album dropping?
February 10th on my birthday, February 10th.
Oh, happy early birthday to you.
Thank you.
Wow, man. It's I'm glad you were able to get out of that hellhole and become the person you need to become.
Yeah. And religion, it works different with everybody. It's healed some people emotionally, but not everybody has that experience. And I can't say that religion did that for me growing up, in a Christian household and, you know, a Pentecostal environment. That didn't do that for me. The complete opposite, you know. And for anybody watching this, you know, when I say these things, it's not that I'm trying to talk bad about the religion, you know, everything,
You're
whether it's
speaking.
music,
You're speaking your
it's
truth.
politics, it's whatever, like everything has its good and its bad. And unfortunately, I grew up where in an environment where all I saw was the bad. Well, the majority of it was the bad. And I'm happy, you know, that I'm no longer a part of it, that I'm free from that, because it fucks people up mentally like you wouldn't believe. And I feel like the people who struggle most with it are the children of people who go out and minister. You know, pastors' children, evangelists, their children, they fucking struggle because they have to put up this whole facade for their parents.
Be perfect.
And and it's hard to live, you know, under that spotlight.
Yeah,
It's
man.
cruel.
I feel that 100%. It's difficult. It's difficult. I don't know, man. Religion, like I did my communion as a Catholic, you know, my parents, my mother. But after that, I never gravitated towards religion. Like I've always thought, like I like my hope, my God is hope.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I believe in. You know, as a child, I used to go to different churches to just see the experience, understand it, right? And like in, you know, all of them were the same. You had your good, you had your bad, you had your decent, you know, but all of them were looking for something because they were lost. They needed structure and
Yeah.
they needed values, you know, and you know, the Bible is just a manual. It's the manual on to help you do and do not. And some people, you know, like myself, you know, I need to go out and live it, experience, so I can understand it, so that, like, you know, now that I have my son, I can create I can create communication with him and sit down and talk to him on why. Because a lot of times when you're a child, they're just telling you don't,
Yeah.
and you get reprimanded, but you fail to understand why. And as you get older, your parents start to struggle because now you're a teenager. Now you're becoming rebellious, and they still don't understand why you feel such anger.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's you know, half of it is, you know, the hormones and whatnot, but it's, you know, you're been told all your life no, but it's like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Explain to me.
But you know, if I had the choice, I would have preferred to grow up in a Catholic church.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, even over the past few years, I enjoyed going to Catholic church more so because I could sit in the back, listen to the word of God, and leave. Be the first one as soon as everything was over, and leave, you know, with a nice message in your heart. And sometimes you need that uplifting spirit.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, with Christianity and, you know,
It's
the
too complicated.
Pentecostal, everybody wants to build relationships that you really don't need to build, and create like these group functions and these cliques. And I get, you know, being social and whatnot, but not everybody is meant to be social, you know.
Yes, I agree 100% with you.
I'm trying to find like the right way to word it,
Yeah.
but with that, it just doesn't work.
Here's a see. I haven't got church in a very long time, and a lot of people go to church for me, right? In my opinion, I could be wrong. I'm open to it. You know, prove me wrong. But a lot of people, like I said, go to church to see guidance and values.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I've lived the worst life in anybody, right? But I lived a life full of experience, and out of those experiences, I've been able to create values for myself, right? So, like, I believe one thing I've learned is like Martin Luther King. We should not judge by the color of our skins, but by the content of our character. So if I judge you, it's not because you're black, white, or purple, it's because you're a dick, right? Um, respect. I'd rather be respected than liked. Anybody can like you. The
Yeah.
majority of people that like you is because they either want something or just being fake. I want respect. So that if you ever try to cross me or do anything, you're gonna double think that shit. Right?
Yeah.
That's what unfortunately, in my opinion, 2022, we lack of a lot is respect. I'm trying to bring that shit back.
I feel like that's why I keep my circle so small too, because not a lot of people have respect. People think I learned that you let people know from the get how they're going to talk to you, how they're going to treat you, how they're going to react to certain things that you say. You let somebody slide a little bit, the big chance of it is that they're going to do whatever they want, you know, in your life. And you need to let people know boundaries.
Yes, that's you gave two of my points. Boundaries. I like my space. I like people to keep their space. I don't like overwhelming people. I don't like people overwhelming me. I even in my household, I need my space. So that's very important. Circles. It's no need for you to be. It's okay to be well known, but it's not okay to have surround yourself with people that have no meaning in conversations. Like as you get older, small talk gets very sad because
honestly, I like silence.
Yeah.
I prefer silence.
Yeah. So that's another one.
Yeah.
I don't like people in my house. I do not like people in my house. I don't like people walking in my room. So like when people walk in my house, they don't pass the kitchen or the sitting area. That's from the point of just, we start the visit to the point we end the visit.
Yeah.
And respecting, your house. Those are my values.
Yeah.
And respect, one to each his own. Everybody has their own opinion. And as I've gotten older, I refuse to have a one-sided conversation with anybody. If I'm willing to open my ears and try to understand where you're coming from, whether you're right or wrong, I expect the same.
Yeah.
And that falls under respect. And I'm getting old, man.
There's no time for the bullshit.
Exactly. So
no time for the bullshit. And it goes into what we were saying before. It's like when we're young, we're so eager to become adults and grow older. And it's like now that we're adults, we know what we want, we know what we're going to tolerate, and we know what we're not going to tolerate in our lives.
Yes. Yes. Shit. Yes. And you're going to lose a lot of people, but you're going to realize the people never really mattered. Like
certain people. Yeah. Not everyone, but
yeah. There's always going to be one or two lingering that in front of you. They're gonna be he ha, and back of you gonna be talking mad shit, but like that just gives sense that you're doing something right.
Yeah,
you're doing something right. Let them talk, and haters gonna hate.
You probably heard this before, but they're gonna talk shit whether you're doing bad or you're doing good. So you might as well do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, they're just mad because you're doing something.
Yeah.
And fuck, man, that's life. Thank you for joining me. It's been an honor. Before we go, tell the people where they can find you.
My website has all my social media links. www.silvestryonline.com. Instagram, I would have to say, is like my main
Source of communication.
Yeah, I use that more than Facebook and anything else. At Silvestry, my last name.
And the album, tell people where to find this album at.
Oh man, this album gonna be everywhere.
Spotify, where they can purchase it. If somebody wants to, or that's still to be
physical. If anybody wants to purchase a physical copy of the CD, I will create a link on my website. But it will be on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Tidal, Deezer.
Everywhere.
Anywhere you can. Yeah, everywhere. Literally everywhere.
Boom. February 10th.
February 10th. Silvestry III.
Cap that album real quick. Thank you for joining me. It's been an honor having this amazing conversation with you.
Thank you for having me.
You're always welcome back.
Thank you.
Don't be a stranger. It's been an honor. February 10th. Go get that album. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.